Hello and welcome to your second World Cup stream brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. As always, you're joined by me, Andy, FPL Mode, and we are also joined by this lovely figure over here. Ed, how's it going, Ed?
It's going well, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Very excited to talk about this game that looks like it's been designed by a bunch of GCSE students for an art project.
Yeah, we're going to get onto that. Let's not go onto it yet. We want to start on a good note. World Cup started. What a start to the World Cup already. Upsets, amazing goals, routs. We've seen a 7-0 win already. We've seen a 6-2 win. Hey.
It's breaking records, Andy. I mean, there's been the most nil-nils as well.
It's coming home. But what have you thought to the start of the World Cup so far, mate?
It's been very interesting. I think classic Twitter and World Cup style, we've gone, they're going to smash it like Belgium or whatever, or they're going to thrash them, and they'll X, Y, Z, and then it just doesn't go how we think. So yeah, I think it's got the makings of a really good World Cup. People complaining about the nil-nils, but I quite like that. It's going to create a tense end to the group stage, and I think that's going to be good.
Yeah, big time. Some of these groups, is it Group E or F? It's like been nothing but 0-0 so far.
Yeah,
so I mean, I've loved it. I just love the fact we get football every day. That's the best thing. 4 games a day. Got the World Cup sweepstake at school. I was rubbing it in the little lad's face when I beat him in the sweepstake. I was Saudi Arabia. He was Argentina. So I've been loving life.
So you and Newcastle United then?
Yeah, basically.
The Geordie boys.
Yeah, disgusting. But no, it's been great. And we better talk about it now. We better bring it up. The official game is, for no other want of another word, dreadful. It is not good.
It's yeah. I mean, I don't think we don't need to convince anyone of this, but let's just share in this because it's like it's as if 7 days before the World Cup they went, should we do a fantasy game? Oh yeah, let's do it. And they thought, do you know what? We're not going to do what UEFA do, which works, for the Euros and for the Champions League. We need to be FIFA. We're different, so we'll do something different. And they've absolutely botched it. They randomly added player faces today, didn't they? Rather than fixing the bugs.
I saw that, all the bugs. And they've now added player faces to the screens. And there's Mbolo scored today for Switzerland. He's not in the game. He's not in the game.
So if you own him, I mean, you've done well. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, obviously there's going to be people now watching this going, well, why are you streaming about a game that's so bad? People are still going to be playing
because we have to. We're Fantasy Football Scout. We've got no choice.
People are going to be playing it against other people in cash leagues, things like that. They still want advice. My big thing is at the moment, there's so many glitches to this game. I'm not playing it the glitch way, but you are. And I think that's good in terms of...
Way? I'm like a Tory MP.
Here we go. Hang on,
I'm just
3 minutes.
Using the
3 minutes in.
To my advantage.
Oh, that's why you're like a Tory MP. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't worry, that was negative about Tory. I wasn't just saying I'm a Tory MP. I wasn't about to try and get your votes. I hope I can count on your vote.
Oh, no. But it does mean that obviously I'm playing it the purist way. You're playing it the I want to try and win this game way, because you'll see with your team screen in a minute that you have minus 5 million in the bank, which is quite impressive.
Yes, but you do realise that, and interest rates are high at the moment. That was pretty hard getting that loan, but let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, and also the information we're going to be given today isn't just good for this game. If we're saying that this is a good fixture to target, if this is a good player to target, it could be used in Phantom, it could be used in the football club, it can be used in all these different Sky as well. Obviously, these far superior games that you might be playing as well. Now, before we go on to having a look at the fixtures and then having a look at our teams as well, we just need to bring up a few sponsors. TalkSport Fan Zone. I'm going to leave this to you, Ed. You've got about 30 seconds to plug TalkSport Fan Zone because it sounds like something cool's going on.
Something really cool is going on, actually. So, 26 Leek Street in London. It's the place that Fantasy Football Fest happened, if you've ever heard of that. It's a fantastic organisation run by a brilliant bloke called Ed. But anyway, if you've been to that, it's the same location there. TalkSport have completely taken over, not just for one night, for the whole World Cup. TalkSport basically bought the venue for the month. They've done it out. There's celebrities going down. There's football players popping in. They're doing TalkSport live from there a few days. So if you've listened to TalkSport in the last few days, I think you would have heard live from this. And you can get tickets to the games. They're showing every World Cup game, tickets to the games. There's a link below. Please click that and buy your tickets to that. And it's just a great place to watch the game. If you're anywhere near London, obviously we know we've got an international audience here, but if you're anywhere near London, it's worth a trip. I'm going to go down, I think on the 9th of December, I'm going to go down. I think a few others are going to go down. You'll hear more about that tomorrow, but that is the TalkSport Fan Zone. Please do go along. It's great.
Yeah, lovely, and it's cool. Like it's the same idea as Fest, isn't it? Where if you're all got the same ideas, same things you want to talk about, and you go there and just share it with some newbie mates apparently.
And I think tickets start from like £7.50, and then they go up. Yeah, and I think you get a free drink as well.
Nice.
So it's pretty good. It's not bad. If you're going to go and watch the game somewhere in London, this is the place. I think that's the message. If you're going to go somewhere, go there.
You did terribly at keeping that to 30 seconds, but I'll forgive you. Right, we've got the last thing we're going to do is just talk about a little bit Black Friday offer for Scout. You can go on there. I think you get 3 or 4 days of free Scout membership, basically, which is great during the World Cup because you've got all the fantasy Opta data on there and all the FPL stuff, so you can look and see and go, oh, brilliant, this is what I've been missing out on.
And they're doing World Cup stuff, aren't they, on the website as well?
They are. That's what I said. Yes, they got World Cup fantasy data on there too, which is brilliant. Right, let's get straight into it then. So the fixtures is what we're going to have a look at now. So obviously game week 1 threw up some surprises. You could see there that Argentina had the biggest chance of a win out of everybody and obviously lost 2-1 against Saudi Arabia. You can see here, by the way, I should say that Lynn made this, Lynn FPL made this fixture ticker. It's lovely and I just like the aesthetics of it, so I thought I'd bring it up. But obviously we're going into match day 2 now. There's some nice fixtures there. But based on what we've seen in match day 1, we might be changing kind of how we feel about it and what we think about certain teams and think about certain players. So Brazil are obviously playing at the moment. They're kind of toiling a little bit against Serbia. They are probably one of the favourites in terms of the fixtures here. They've got Switzerland. But Switzerland did okay. They obviously beat Cameroon 1-0. What do you think about Brazil at the moment based on the 50 minutes you've seen so far and their chances in match day 2?
So I just saw the first half. In the first half, I think that... so I predicted. So everyone picked their teams, right? And everyone got Neymar and they got, I didn't pick Neymar in my team because I think in my head, and I'm not basing this on much, but Serbia are going to keep them quiet, etc., etc., etc. As the tournament's gone on, it's looked pretty good for that because there's been a lot of games where the big teams have been kept quiet by organised... defences and maybe smaller teams. So I'm thinking Brazil are obviously still going to go deep into the tournament, but I could see this being a 0-0, but we'll see. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is already branching out a little bit, but how much do you take into account what happens in match day 1 to what you're going to do in match day 2? Are you just purely fixtures, or do you think, oh, they looked awful, don't get on them, get on somebody else match day 2?
No, I think match day 1... I think the stats back this up as well. In any kind of tournament football like this, international tournament football, the first game's always tight because if you're in a nightmare position if you lose the first game, you're in a superb position if you win the first game. But if you draw, you've taken points off another member of the group and all this sort of stuff. It's a safe space. And if you're thinking, these teams facing these bigger teams, these maybe smaller nations facing the bigger footballing nations, they're sitting back because they think if we get a draw here, there's a chance.
Yeah,
I don't know how much it would affect me. I don't like if Brazil draw today. Who's their next game against? Let's have a look. Switzerland. Would that put me off having Neymar? Well, no, I don't actually have Neymar. I have Vinicius Junior. But would it put me off having a Brazilian attacker? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, and it's interesting because some of the teams that have won this week haven't impressed me at all. So Belgium are here. They got Morocco. They've got a really good chance in terms of winning this game. Probably one of the better fixtures out of the whole match day 2. I was not impressed with Belgium at all. They looked really, really poor. And it's the most annoyed I've been watching a game, watching Canada try and beat them, and probably should have done as well.
Is that because you had De Bruyne captain?
No. I didn't own any players in that game. I thought about owning Alphonso Davies, and I'm glad I didn't now with his missed pen. But I didn't like the look of Belgium at all. I don't know what you think about them because they've got a nice fixture.
I was speaking to someone at my work, who is Canadian, and he was saying, "You do realise we finished top of our group ahead of Mexico, and and I didn't realise that. I don't think it had been talked about that much. And obviously, we all know Alphonso Davies, but the rest of them, whatever. And when he got that penalty, I thought, because everyone really had thought, should I get Alphonso Davies? Because he's not going to be playing left back. He's a defender, but he's going to be playing, in midfield or whatever. And then he missed it, so everyone's like, brilliant. But Yeah, I wasn't impressed with Belgium. I mean, there's this constant thing with Belgium for the last decade, isn't there, of this is their golden generation.
Yeah.
And it feels quite similar to the England golden generation of every tournament we're going, this is our chance, this is our chance. You know, we had Ferdinand, Terry, Owen, Lampard, Gerrard, Beckham. They've got Lukaku, De Bruyne, Hazard, Vertonghen, you know, Courtois, all these players. And it just seems like tournament by tournament, it's going by and they're not reaching their potential. Individually, they're brilliant. Together, collectively, they're not doing it. And it feels very Englandish to me.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think I had De Bruyne. I've sold him already. I don't think I'm going to be getting them back in because I'm similar to you. Did not impress me. And if they turn it around, great. I might bring them back in. But no, didn't impress me.
No, not at all. And I mean, you just mentioned there about kind of individually great, but as a team, no. That kind of sums up Argentina. And obviously, they lost against Saudi Arabia 2-1. Does this push them on in the next game? They've got Mexico in the next game. Does this push them on to say, well, that's it. We've got to win the next game, obviously. They got Poland in the third game, which is tricky as well. We were looking at these fixtures at the beginning and thinking, well, this is lovely. Triple up of Argentina. Great stuff. Messi, Di Maria, Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez probably should have done better than he did because of at least one of those offside goals was probably a bit harsh. But Messi only really got the pen, losing 2-1. Do we keep our faith in Argentina?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because Argentina hadn't lost in something like 2-3 years.
Oh, I know. And then they lose 2-1 to Saudi Arabia.
And then the Geordie boys obviously roughed them up a bit. And did you see that guy who got the knee in his face and he's got fractures all over his face?
Proper Geordie boy, mate.
Proper Geordie boy. But I saw the X-ray of his face. He's cracked his jaw, his nose, everything. Oh, blimey, he's fine. He's he had internal bleeding and all sorts. It's proper serious. But he's okay. Anyway, do we keep faith in Argentina? They're in trouble. They are in trouble because their next two games are obviously harder than Saudi Arabia. Well, you'd think Mexico and Poland. I think I've sold Messi, and I'll keep Di Maria. I won't bring Messi back in.
So why is that? Because you just don't fancy him in these next two games.
I just think they didn't look great. They didn't look penetrative, and that's stupid. I know because someone who's watched Argentina for the last 2 years, watching them win the Copa America and all that, will say you're an idiot. You're basing it on one game. Well, yeah, because I'm the standard football fan who just watched one game and they didn't do very well. So they're going to have to go up another level to do anything against Mexico. It's just the fact, isn't it? So,
and it sounds like there's going to be quite big changes to the team. But it sounds like it's going to still be Messi, Di Maria, and guy on the other side. Oh, God, I can't know who it is now.
Martinez.
Is it? No, it wasn't Martinez. He didn't start, did he? It's whoever it was. Whoever it is, anyway. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be the same front three, but it sounds like it's going to be changed everywhere else. So it sounds like Lisandro Martinez is probably going to come in. It sounds like Acuna's probably going to start instead of Tagliafico. A lot of people were annoyed Acuna didn't start anyway because I think a lot of people were expecting him to. I do worry, but I wonder whether it's worth sticking with these Argentina lads, unless you're on wildcard or whatever, which obviously a lot of people might try and twist. But I just feel like it might be worth sticking with them. We're obviously talking about.
Did start, by the way. It was Martinez.
It was Martinez. Sorry. Yes, yeah, that's right. I'm just wondering whether we're thinking about them as a team. They might lose again, or they might draw against Mexico. But does that mean players like Messi, Martinez, and Di Maria don't do well?
No, well, they need, don't they? Let's think it from their point of view. They're in their camp. They've lost against Saudi Arabia. It's flipping gone mad at home. They're here under loads of pressure. They need to get 4 points minimum to go through. Yeah. So they need to win a game and they need to draw a game. And obviously they'll just be thinking we need to win both games. I think that Messi might step up, right? Messi might just take hold of the game like he's done in the past. He's the best player probably ever, let's be honest. Yeah. And just go for it. My thing about the best player ever, by the way, side note, is Messi is the most talented player ever. Yeah. But I prefer Ronaldo's career, is what I mean. Anyway, we're gonna go.
Lovely.
Anyway, that's a different podcast.
Used to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'd keep players. I think I'm being a bit. The reason I've got rid of Messi is because I wanted to bring in whoever it was. I can't remember, Ronaldo or something stupid like that. But I think most people will keep faith. Are you going to keep faith? You've just said you would probably.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I think
this
is
one
the
of the
perfect
favourites,
moment. And this is one of those perfect moments where loads of people will twist and loads of people will go off the best player in the world, and then you get to own him as a little bit more of a differential, which for me is lovely. So I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick. France Denmark is a really really tough fixture in this second match day. A lot of people have Mbappe. He obviously got a goal and assist, and Giroud got 2 goals, lovely 2 goals. Denmark didn't look great going forward, but obviously they were resolute at the back and got a 0-0 in their first game. It would be devastating for Denmark to lose this second game because obviously they'd only have 1 point after the first 2 matches. But France, if they go for the win, obviously get 6 points, and they're looking like they're going through. If you had French players, I know a lot of people had Mbappe as their 12th man and won't have French players going into this fixture. Is that a mistake? Do you target France because they look quite good, or do you just leave this fixture alone, do you think?
It's an interesting one. I was one of those people who had Mbappe 12th man. I have no other players currently. Yeah, and I think that was the right call. I think the 12th man using in game week 1 because of those easier fixtures for those front guys. I think that worked well. But I was surprised that BBC banged on about Mbappe so much. He was obviously great, but he should have had a hat trick. He should have had a hat trick. Absolutely should have had a hat trick. Why weren't they banging on about Giroud on the BBC after when he just broken the French record and scored 2 goals? It really annoyed me. It was just because it was Mbappe. Anyway, would I keep these players? Would I buy these players because I don't own them? I think I'd wait. I think Denmark could get a draw. I could see a 0-0 or 1-1. I could see, because do you remember Denmark from the last tournament? Defensively sound.
Yeah.
Their defense is probably their strength. So I think, for me, if I was thinking, what is the sensible play? Because with me, you know me, I always want to do something. But what's the sensible play? I'd leave Denmark and I'd get them in for Tunisia.
Would you?
I would. But what would you do?
I think if I had, I'd hold. My biggest thing is I'm looking at.
I'd hold if I had. Yeah.
I think in terms of getting them in, it's whether I trust France more than other teams. And we've just seen Argentina was saying, oh, do we trust them now? Belgium was saying we don't like them a lot. And they're 2 of the teams with the best fixtures this week. Brazil, like I said, toiling already against Serbia, but we thought Serbia would be a tough game for them. And I'm just thinking about alternatives. Who else do you look to? If you've got that money and you can buy someone like Mbappe or Giroud, who is, what is he, 8.5, 7.5 on the game?
Something like that, 7.5 maybe. I mean, you're right. The tricky thing is, it's like Spain thrashed, who was it? Costa Rica.
Yeah.
But it was all different goal scorers, so it's not like you can go that one or that one. A lot of people went Ferran Torres, obviously. You're right. Yeah, it is a bit of an issue. The big teams haven't performed. Spain have, but all the goals and points were spread. We have, but Kane didn't score, so it's like, okay, well, which one do I get? Who's going to be... So wait to see what Brazil do. I'm not watching the game at the moment. I don't know what the score is currently, but Argentina. Let's just go through it. Okay, so Brazil, who knows yet? Probably still 0-0. No idea. Argentina didn't perform. Belgium didn't perform. France did.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a let's go for France then. I don't know. Spain did, but who do you go for? Holland. What was the score in Holland game again? They got
2-0.
2-0. Oh yeah, in the last minute. So, but again, who do you go for?
Yeah. It's tough.
Portugal. The reason I got Ronaldo in my team. Sorry, I'm speaking about actually a different game. So, but anyway, the reason I considered getting Ronaldo in this game, but I got him in Sky, is because if Portugal do anything, it's him, right?
Yeah.
It's him. He got a penalty, he scored, whatever. So, yeah, it is interesting. And Germany didn't perform, and oh gosh, it's tricky. It's really tricky.
It's tough, and I think it's going to be hard to, if you're moving off a striker and you want to free up funds, I think just a lot of people are going to go for Giroud because he's so much cheaper than a lot of those strikers. And I think, like you just said, in terms of everything's just going to go to him up top. And Mbappe, you just mentioned about Mbappe missing a lot of chances. I love the fact he got all those chances. It just sums him up.
Before people start saying it, I'm not saying Mbappe's rubbish or didn't play well. He did play well, scored a goal. Obviously. Oh, go on. What's happened?
Richarlison goal.
Vinicius Junior, was he involved at all?
I don't know who got the assist. Someone shot at the keeper and it was a rebound back in. Might be Casemiro actually.
There you go. Yeah. Still not super convincing yet, but anyway. No. I just oh gosh, it's hard. I don't know.
I think the biggest thing is whether you go for Mbappe, and if you don't go for Mbappe, you've got Giroud there, who's so much cheaper, and I think he is the way to go. Spain, we just mentioned 7-0 against Costa Rica, one of the worst teams in the World Cup, Costa Rica. So how much do we take stock of this? This 7-0?
I think you definitely take stock. Did you see all these stats about how many passes they made and all this sort of length of passes and all
Yeah,
this
I know.
bizarre? Like it was mad. It was like peak Barcelona, in the Guardiola days when they were breaking records for all these passes, or maybe even peak Swansea when they got relegated nearly, but still made the most passes.
Yeah,
But no, as in, I definitely take stock because you've seen teams play smaller nations and they've got nothing. So
yeah.
it's not as easy as saying, "Oh, it was just Costa Rica," because sure, Costa Rica had a bad game, but they still scored 7 goals. So who's Spain's next game? I got it here. It's Germany. Okay,
Germany.
that's the test, isn't it? That's when we know, because Germany, although they didn't perform in the first half, Spain aren't going to thrash Germany 7-0. That's going to be clipped if they do, obviously. But that's
Spain
not.
did.
It's just not going to happen. So that's the test for me.
Spain did this in the Euros as well. I remember watching them in the groups and thinking, God, they're having so much possession. They're not going to concede. They got through to the knockouts and they got knocked out in the first round, didn't they? And it just stinks of that for me again. Like, I'm not sure whether they've got that substance in their team to back against a tough opposition. So Germany will be an interesting test for them. I'm not a massive fan of Germany myself. So I'm wondering whether that's just going to be a 0-0 or like maybe Spain nick it. But it will be interesting to see that one. And then Japan, I think Japan's a tough game as well. I backed Japan before this tournament.
I just think always in these tournaments, the first round of games are tight. Generally,
Yeah.
I know some haven't, but generally tight. The second round of games are the most interesting, and the third round of games are the most dramatic. It's always been that way. Second round of games are really interesting, and this tournament particularly because of the results we've had. It's like, what do Argentina do? What do Belgium do? What do these teams do? And it's going to be fascinating. So the first round of games have been pretty good, I think. I know it's a lot of 0-0s and stuff, but I think it's set it up to be a really good tournament in terms of entertainment. Maybe not in terms of other things, but in terms of entertainment.
So go on then. Do we all jump on England? 3 England, triple England, got USA next. Come on, we could beat the Yanks, can't we? That's going to be another 6-2 drubbing.
I still think the way to back England is defence. I know that sounds mad. We just won 6-1. Was it 6-1 or 6-2? Whatever it was.
6-2.
6-2. We just won 6-2. It doesn't sound sensible to go, it's still defence, but because we just scored 6 goals. First of all, the goals were spread. Harry Kane's had a bit of a niggle, but apparently he's fit, so I guess we just forget that and discard that. But for me, it's going to be 2 defenders, Trippier and Shaw, and then Kane. Yeah. That's what I'm going to go for. And I think that's probably the template, I imagine. I think everyone's got Trippier because he's cheap, and he's going to start, and he's brilliant, and he's on set pieces. Probably next, everyone's going to have Shaw, because even though someone like Maguire might be a good shout, you see how close he got a couple of times to scoring. No one likes him because of his poor form, and they use that as bias. And then Harry Kane. Maybe a few people get put off Harry Kane because he's injured when he's not. But I don't know. What are you thinking, England wise? Go on.
I completely agree about Trippier. I think Shaw is on set pieces too. I think he's equally just as good as Trippier personally, and they're both 5 mil on the game, aren't they? Which is ridiculous.
It's mad. Yeah, it's just you've got to have them really.
The other 2 that you haven't mentioned, which I think people should really have in their top of their minds, is obviously Saka after his 2 goals.
I know what you're going to say next.
It's Bellingham.
Yeah, well, I was going to say Bellingham. It was going to be Bellingham or Sterling, but Bellingham.
Yeah, Bellingham's the one for me. It's so tough though after a game where they win 6-2. Like as soon as a few goals went in, they all wanted a goal, didn't they? And it was just, if we hadn't have scored how many goals we scored, I don't think we would have conceded. So I do completely agree with you that I think defence is probably the way to go, because I think they're probably the more reliable assets. Yeah. I don't see Bellingham and Saka personally having games like that every round until the knockout stages. So I think in terms of reliability, I completely agree with you that I think Kane, Trippier, and Shaw are the 3 I'd go with.
I think that's the boring template 3. I think if you wanted to have fun, you'd go Maguire, Bellingham, and Sterling.
If you wanted to have fun, go Maguire.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, Maguire's going to start, we know. He's a threat from set pieces. He called chaos. He caused chaos in their box. Yeah. And you don't get penalised in FPL for making defensive mistakes. Or in this game. So, there you go. Slabhead Maguire.
Slabhead. 3 more teams I just want to talk about. And we could talk about them all at once because they've got the nice fixtures. Croatia have Canada. I think Canada were better than we thought they would be. Serbia have Cameroon. So Serbian players, they're losing now against Brazil, but they do have the attack that could be a nice thing to target. And then South Korea have Ghana. And Ghana are, I think, based on FIFA rankings, the worst team in the World Cup this year. So
Yeah, but those rankings are stupid. But yes,
they are stupid. But obviously, if you're taking into account just the fixtures, then that's
yes,
something there.
yeah.
South Korea, I'm assuming it's just Son, really, that you're probably going to be looking at, is it?
Or Kim.
Or Kim.
Which
Serbia.
Kim?
Serbia, Mitrovic. You take his punt on Mitrovic?
Oh, 100%. Mitrovic for Serbia. Well, sorry, Mitrovic for the last 2 years in club and country has been incredible, but he's always been amazing for country. He's beaten some. I think he's beaten the record for the most goals under a certain age for international goals or something. He beat Messi and Ronaldo and all. There's some sort of crazy stat. He's a superb footballer. Yeah. The only issue with him has always been the team needs to be built around him. Yeah. Serbia always has been. Fulham, last time they were in the Premier League, they did not build the team around him. He wasn't very good. Now they are built around him. He scored nearly 50 goals last season in the Championship and 40, whatever it was. And then this season he's doing very well. So yeah, I'd 100%. Whether I'll get him, I don't know. But I would 100%. If you're thinking you want a cheaper forward, he's a great pick. Yeah. Because who have they got after that? Hang on, you got Cameroon, then Switzerland. They could score against
Switzerland.
Yeah.
And then last one, so Croatia. Any Croatians? I think that's a tough one, isn't it? Like Modric doesn't.
Sosa, the clean sheet hero.
Sosa, 3.5 million, absolute hero.
Only because he's so cheap, obviously. But,
exactly. So before we move off the fixtures, then, just very quickly, what is your plan in terms of using the chips? Are you going to be wildcarding in game week 2, game week 3? Are you going to be saving that for knockout stages? What are you going to be doing?
Well, what's the latest news? Because I'm trying to keep up every minute it changes. Like, does the
I forgot about the glitches.
Does the Matchday 2 glitch wildcard thing work? To explain, if you're watching and you don't know what we're talking about, apparently Andy, Let's Talk FPL, checked with someone who worked at FIFA, whether it was Sepp Blatter, who knows, and they said if you use the wildcard in Matchday 2, you can pick a whole new team, then you have unlimited transfers the whole week, so you can pick a whole new team, play out game week 2, then before the deadline, when the last game finishes, or the game before, whatever, pick a whole new another team for game week 3. So essentially you get 2 wildcards. So that makes game week 1, game week 2, or game week 3 a free hit. Now, since then, there's been about 50 other bugs we've found in the game, so now we're, I think, questioning whether this is actually going to work. I mean, we're getting down to the level of bugs, if you're watching, you'll know this, where you bring in your sub, but it brings in a different sub, or you transfer a player,
or it just doesn't sub,
or it just has a mind of its own. For me, I haven't actually experienced any of this. It's all worked for me, so I'm happy. I even did them. What? Have we shown my team on the screen yet? Because I've got -5 million.
Hang on, let me bring up your team. Yeah, look at that, -5 million in the bank. How'd that happen then, Ed?
I saw an opportunity. And I think it would be... I'm going to do a politician. I saw an opportunity, and I think it would be foolish of me not to use it to the maximum advantage.
Integrity is just destroyed.
Look, you don't want to question my integrity. You question the integrity of the people who created the rules of the game and wrote the code, not mine. So what I did was I let... Hang on. I need it to update on my screen so I can see my team. But, hang on. What happened was You get 2 free transfers every game week, right? Mm-hmm. I had Messi play the game, got his points, which was 7 points or 6 points, whatever it was. I then transferred him out, and transferred a Trossard out who hadn't played yet. And because it was 1 locked player and 1 unlocked player, I could bring in 1 player who I would still get points for. So I brought in a cheap forward, can't remember who it was, doesn't matter, and then use the rest of my budget, because I got a big budget from what I did, to bring in Kevin De Bruyne. So now I'm at -5 million for this game week. But, loans are things. You're allowed to get a loan. It's not illegal.
So how does that work for next week? Do you just have to go in
because I'm going to play my wild card.
But you...
So I'll just get rid of it all, and it will be fine. So I'll just delete all my edits. I'll just do what Tory MPs do. I'll just play the wild card and just delete all the debt.
This has divided the community. Do you know why? Because the community is now made up of...
Yeah, but you always knew that I was going to be this side of it.
It's now made up of people with morals, and it's made up of cheaters.
It's not morals.
It's made up of cheaters. And
should I tell you what it is?
Let me talk. Our screen is split down the middle right now. Do you know why? Because I am a person with morals.
You're looking
You
down on me because you think
are.
you are.
I am literally.
That's what
like
it
that
is.
right now.
You're looking down on me.
You
because
are a
you think you are.
cheater.
You're Andy.
Minus
Who am I?
5 million
Who
in
am
the
I?
bank.
Let's just ask you a simple question. Who am I cheating if I use this? If I use this loophole? It's not even a
Richarlison
loophole.
again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's 8 and 8 he's got. 8 in his last 8 for Brazil, I think. Who set it up?
I don't know. I don't care.
As long as it's not Neymar, to be honest.
Not De Bruyne.
Yeah. You realise you and me are doing these for the next 4 weeks or whatever it is. Let's not fall out.
I can't wait. Last match day, you're gonna have minus 63 million in the bank.
Yeah. Do you know by the 4th game week, it's just going to be you and me and no one watching because no one's going to be playing.
You'll be number 1.
Yeah. You'll be 2 exactly. I'm glad you know.
God.
Can I just defend this? So, who do you think you're cheating by using that loophole? Go
was
on.
a Vinicius assist as well.
Yes. Who are you cheating?
Huh?
Who am I cheating by doing that?
I don't know how many people play this game, but you're 83,000 at the moment.
Am I? I thought it was better than that.
Well, that's what it says on here. I don't know. Oh, I suppose you had Cancelo play and get you 1 point.
Right. No, hang on. Who am I cheating? I'm not cheating them. They're just idiots who haven't worked out you can do it. I'm following the rules of the game. I'm following the rules of the game. It's not my fault. Other people haven't learnt the rules.
Let's bring up my team.
You're exactly loser. This is the first time I've ever been on one of these streams where I'm winning.
So here's my team. You say that, I've got Richarlison and Neymar captain. Richarlison's obviously got a brace, and Neymar's playing. So this should... Yeah.
You didn't celebrate at all.
No, I know.
Oh, I'll be losing now. You've made me look like an idiot.
So this is going quite well. Yeah, I mean, the team's not great. My defence is done quite well, but apart from that, the rest of it's awful. But yeah, I think I'm going to be playing the wild card. I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether I could be bothered to do the whole playing the wild card and change everybody around and doing all that stuff. But mainly because I'm at school, I can't be doing it halfway, like stopping the lesson and then quickly changing players and stuff. So I'm probably just going to play it like normal.
As soon as this game finishes, you can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know whether I've got
sorry, Andy. If you don't do it because you're got work, don't claim I've cheated because I've done it when I come back next week just because you couldn't be asked to stay up 5 minutes
later. Because you don't work.
This is unbelievable.
Anyway, so yeah, but if I did, I think all the players we mentioned before, I think I'd stick with Argentina anyway. I think I'd stick with the Brazilian lads. There's not much I would change in this, to be perfectly honest. I made some stupid transfers. I brought in Perisic.
What is this obsession in FPL and World Cup? These idiots buying a 33-year-old Perisic who didn't even like to play 60 minutes for his left wing.
I brought him in because I had to get rid of Sarabia, and I knew that Perisic was going to be playing, so I brought Perisic in, and obviously, didn't go that well. Yeah, is what it is. What can you do?
Well, you could not do that.
You could not do that. So you're 100% going to be doing.
Vinicius Junior got both assists, by the way.
Yes, I know he did. I told you that, Edward.
No, you told me one. I didn't know the other. Sorry, go on. Carry
on. So you're 100% going to be wildcarding game week 2.
Well, yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, yes. If I have to now because I've got some random striker I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Al Shabalabalaba or something. I've never heard of him. What?
Oh, is that an old screenshot?
Oh, who is it? Who have I got?
Because you didn't have Vinicius Junior in the one that I brought up.
Oh, sorry. In classic me, I'm talking about Sky FPL, Sky World Cup, which is better game. I don't mind saying that. It's a better game. I'm sorry, but this game is flipping awful. Is anyone else concentrating on this game? Please watch our next 3 videos.
Yeah, exactly. So most of what you've said tonight is rubbish because you're talking about the Sky game.
No, only that. Only Vinicius Junior. The rest is true. I can see it here. So who have I brought in? I've got. Yeah, I don't even know, mate. I've got. So my team currently is Mbappe was my 12th man. It was on the screen, right? I haven't seen it hasn't come on the screen once when I've been looking.
We had it up on the screen for a good 10 minutes, Ed, but I will bring it back up again.
Thanks, mate.
There's your team.
Okay, well, I'm behind on YouTube.
So you've got Messi, Kane and Nunez up top.
Yeah, so Nunes let me down. He was flipping rubbish. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Nunes was rubbish. I've got Musiala, Di Maria, Trippier, Ward, but there's a couple of things that have changed from this because when you make changes, obviously it only shows for next week. So Messi's not in this team anymore. Who else isn't in this team anymore? A couple of others. I can't remember who. But anyway, yeah, what am I going to do?
Good content.
Basically, yeah, but that sums up everyone's opinion on this game at the moment, which is I don't really know what's happening. The screen, this screen that's on the screen now on YouTube, my team, that is suddenly going to change to the game week 2 team at some point. But I need that to happen before I. How do I do that? I need that to happen before I can see what I've got. I've got -5 million. It makes no sense.
I have no idea what's going on. Right.
Oh.
I mean, based on that, I think we should probably stop there, shouldn't we?
I think we should say, because we're doing it the next 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I think we should say to people watching, look, if you fall out of love with the game, and which we wouldn't be surprising given the bugs, please still tune into this because we'll just have fun. We'll just chat football and bit of banter, and we'd love to have you.
By
I've got to say.
match day 4,
Yeah.
so when the knockout starts, I reckon Ed will know his team. And it'll make everything a lot better.
I doubt I will, because I would have made changes that won't show till... Basically, I'm beating you, is that right?
I'm not even sure anymore because I've got Richarlison. And you've got no Brazil, have you? So we'll see what happens. Anyway, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you've been enjoying the World Cup. And obviously, match day 1 is pretty much finished now with what looks like a Brazil win against Serbia. Ed, thank you so much for joining us as well.
See you next week.
Yeah. And we'll be seeing you all very, very soon. Have a good one. Enjoy. Bye-bye.